My name's Rob Inglis. I'm the Elders Livestock Production Coordinator, so as well as coordinating a team of 15 livestock production advisors around Australia, I also consult to clients, to Elders clients. I'm a nutritionist by trade. I worked for the New South Wales DPI for 6 years in the ruminant nutrition section. My specialty is ruminant nutrition, so that generally speaking I work with clients on how to improve their nutrition. So some of that might be with feedlots or pastoral rangelands environments or this more intensive cropping areas. So our role is to work with the livestock and wool team to make sure that our clients are getting the best possible service to go with their marketing service. This project came about following an information day we held with Western Land Service at Booligal, where we had a number of speakers from MLA, from AWI, and we did discuss this topic with a number of growers around the Booligal area, and we sort of generated some interest, and from that, with the help of Western Land Service, we've formed a group of 6 properties or 6 producers around the Booligal area. Collectively, they probably run between 80 and 100,000 ewes between them, over obviously hundreds of thousands of hectares. They're all good, young, eager, progressive producers that we hope they'll be there. The early adopters and people will follow and see what they're doing and follow. A producer demonstration site is designed to prove, if you like, or to ground truth previous research that's been done by various universities. So the basis of this project was some research that was done at Trangie in 2009, where they compared the weight of ewes or ewe weaners at 9 months of age from 2 different self-replacing flocks, and then measured their reproductive performance in the following 6 years. And what that data showed was the light ewes raised 1 lamb, the heavy ewes raised up to 6 lambs. So there was a 5 lamb differential over their reproductive life. So, you know, clearly, a ewe that produces 1 lamb in a life compared to a ewe that produces 6, it's a bit of a no-brainer, isn't it? Which one you'd want to keep. The project is designed to help self-replacing merino flocks, particularly or merino producers, manage their ewe weaners more efficiently. So what we tend to find is in the average merino flock, some of the best genetics, and they could be twin lambs out of a maiden ewe, because of the environment, they're generally smaller than their siblings or their contemporaries, if you like. They could be genetically the best sheep on the property, but when the classer comes, he takes off all those light sheep because they haven't got the weight, so they get taken out of the system. And as I said, they could be genetically the best sheep on the station. So what we want to do is lift the weight of those lighter ewe weaners so that when the classer comes, he's picking the best sheep based on their genetic merit, not based on how well they were fed as a lamb and as a weaner. We're trying to take all that noise out, if you like. We've drafted 3 groups off, so we've got a medium, if you like, which is the flock, then we've taken a heavy group and a light group out of each age group of ewe lambs. So we've tagged them accordingly, and we'll measure the reproductive performance of those heavies compared to the average of the flock compared to the light. So what we'll do is we'll take scanning data, so all these ewes will be scanned at 13 to 14 weeks of pregnancy to establish whether they're A in lamb or B if they're carrying twins. So we'll have scanning data, and then we'll measure at weaning time, we'll measure which one of those ewes has raised 1 or 2 lambs. So the science says that they'll all get pregnant. I'm sure everyone who's run sheep would know that when a ram jumps a fence, he'll get a little ewe lamb in lamb, but she won't carry that lamb through till weaning. And because that pregnancy will obviously set her back, it's likely that she'll fail to reproduce next year. So weight really is king in this job. The heavier they are at 9 months of age, and the heavier they are at 12 months and then 18 months of age, the more likely they are to raise a lamb, to wean a weanable lamb. Now, as I said, the science says that those lighter ones during puberty, because they didn't get they were later born, or they had a twin sister to compete with, generally speaking, don't hit those target benchmark weights at puberty, and the science shows us that they won't be reproductively efficient for the rest of their life. What we'd like to see is those lighter ewe weaners will get fed a supplement or have a better pasture allocated to them. So when the classer comes at 12 months, they'll all be even, they'll all be the same weight, size and shape in a perfect world. He'll be then classing on the genetics of the sheep, not on whether they've been well fed or not. So the lighter sheep will hopefully get better nutrition so that we're evening up the ledger. A little bit of money spent now to get that weight on those ewe weaners, it will be money saved later on, because those sheep are less likely to require, further supplementation later on in life. And we know for a fact that the earlier you start with the sheep, the smaller the animal, the cheaper it is to feed, obviously, because it has a lower maintenance requirement. So getting weight on early in life is a lot more efficient than trying to do it later on. As long as they've been able to catch up and compensate for being born late, or being born a twin, or being born out of a maiden ewe, which all compromise milk production, birth weight, and post-birth growth, I suppose. Yeah. The last 30 years, particularly I'll use the merino as an example. We've gone from a wool producer to a dual-purpose animal. So nearly every flock in Australia now would be making as much, if not more, from meat production as they are from wool production. So certainly the pendulum has swung heavily in favour of meat production. Ergo, it's more important that these ewes have a lamb every year, because relying on a ewe to run as a wether and just cut your wool is not making a profit. So reproductive performance, because of the improved meat market, or lamb market, mutton market, is more important than it was when I first started, certainly. So things have changed. The eye can be very deceiving. I know some very, very good judges of sheep who we've had draft off what they regard as the heaviest ewes in the flock, and there's been a 10 kilo weight differential. So you can't see what's under the skin, unfortunately. Yeah. And that's probably the biggest handbrake. I guess people look at a sheep and look, don't get me wrong, there are some very good judges of sheep out there, but I defy anyone to tell me how much weight there is beneath that skin without using a set of scales. Yeah. So what we'd like to see is more people buy yourself a set of scales and be a bit more discerning, I suppose, with your management of your ewe weaners, because they're the future of your business. And on every flock in Australia, it's the young ewes, the 1.5-year-olds, if you like, that are probably the most important age group on the station. And more often than not, what we're seeing is that group of ewes, their reproductive performance is poor.